Next up, we have the game The Hexadome by Blindspot Games, and we welcome Alison Ozias up. Did I say that right?
Yes, you did.
Oh my goodness, it's a tricky name.
It is.
All right, Alison, are you ready to do your pitch?
I'm ready.
All right, off you go.
Bonjour tout le monde, donc je m'appelle Alison et je m'occupe du marketing chez Blindspot Games. On est une équipe de 14 personnes à Montréal et on travaille sur notre premier jeu, The Hexadome Aristeia Showdown, un jeu tour par tour tactique multijoueur. So our first game, The Hexadome, is a 1v1 turn-based tactics game that could be summed up as Overwatch meets XCOM. Like Overwatch, it's a hero-based game in which each character has unique abilities and you will have to master their playstyle and create synergies between them to outplay your opponent. And like XCOM, it is turn-based. So you will have action points and you will have to strategically position your characters and think carefully about your moves to win. So the game has a 1v1 mode and a solo mode. In the 1v1 mode, each player will control 4 characters who will fight in an arena called the Hexadome in front of millions of fans cheering for them. Because in our universe, we are 200 years in the future, and the game is a show that is broadcasted to the entire galaxy. So imagine a sci-fi blood sport with hundreds of millions of fans rooting for their favorite champion. So the Hexadome is really a game about tactical choices. The game has a lot of strategic depth, and there's actually many ways to win a match. So the goal of the game is to occupy scoring zones to win points. So the scoring zone, there are the black numbered shapes that you're seeing on screen right now, and the active scoring zone is the middle one. So you can choose to rush to the zone if you want, or try to incapacitate the opposing team if you want to prevent them from rushing to the zone, but you'd be better off using the unique abilities of your champions to outplay your opponent. So on top of that, we also have some cool mechanics that will add to your strategy. The first one is sponsors. So on the map, you can see there's a blocker with a red hologram hovering around it. That's a sponsor. And placing your champions on sponsor tiles will give you powerful rewards. They are bonuses that will give you a massive advantage over your opponent, such as the ability to increase the movement range of all of your champions, for example, or at the opposite, reduce the movement range of all of your opponents. A second mechanic that we have is cheers. So it's a resource that you will earn by performing actions that will amaze the crowd, because remember, you are in a show that is watched by the entire galaxy, so the crowd really wants to be entertained. And you will gain cheers by, for example, kicking someone out of the scoring zone, or landing a successful attack, or showing team spirit and reviving an ally, for example. And with these cheers, you can do 3 things. So the first thing you can do is raise the stats of your champions. So attack, defense, agility, or even skills, everything can be upgraded. The second thing that you can do with cheers is buy consumables. So they're tactics that will have an instant effect on the game. And you can, for example, swap your position with a target, or increase the success rate of your attacks, or even add an additional action point so that you can attack once more. And the third thing you can do with cheers is unleash your ultimate attack. So they're costly, but they are unique to each character, and they can really be a game changer. They can really disrupt the course of the game. Another thing that we can do in the game is manipulate your luck, and that's really cool. So each attribute is represented by a roulette with values, kind of like a dice. And you can increase the maximum values or even remove the minimum ones so that you can have a direct impact on your luck in the game. So you can really manipulate the RNG in the game, the random number generation. So really, the Hexadome is really a game that is easy to play but hard to master, and the fun of the game comes from the fact that you get to outplay your opponent. So the game will release in early access this summer with 12 playable characters, and we will add additional characters along the way in the form of DLC. The game will be a premium game, and you'll have the opportunity to playtest the game very soon, because our first Alpha Playtest will happen next week from February 6th to 12th. And you can register for it right now on our Steam page by clicking the playtest button. And if you want to support us, really, you can wishlist the game. It really, really makes a huge difference for us. And you can also join our Discord, where we share a lot of information about the game development. We also have a focus group, and we talk with playtesters, and their feedback is very valuable for us. Donc, le jeu sortira en Early Access cet été, avec 12 personnages jouables. Ça sera un jeu payant. Et on va ajouter des personnages additionnels après, sous la forme de DLC. Donc, vous allez pouvoir tester le jeu très bientôt parce qu'on va avoir notre alpha la semaine prochaine, du 6 février au 12 février. Et vous pouvez vous inscrire dès à présent en cliquant sur le bouton Playtest sur Steam. Et profitez-en pour wishlister le jeu si c'est votre genre de jeu. Ça fait une énorme différence pour nous. On a également un serveur Discord où on partage plein d'informations. Donc, rejoignez-nous, parlez avec les devs. On adore ça. Merci à toutes et à tous et à bientôt dans l'Hexadome.
Wow, very good. You timed it perfectly. Amazing. Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
We're getting a lot of cheers in the chat saying the game is looking great. So no pressure for the team. You have the first test coming next week.
Next week, yes, and yes, pressure for the team.
My goodness.
But yeah, it's exciting. It's our very first alpha playtest. We have some playtesters in Discord, but like VIP testers, and we're like opening it with the first alpha playtest.
Are you limiting?
Yes,
how
yes,
many?
We are. I actually don't know the number.
Yeah,
but yes.
It could be overwhelming.
But I think that in the chat right now, they're giving keys to guarantee the access to the alpha playtest.
Wow.
So if you want to playtest the game, grab a key.
Okay, great. Well, lucky to everyone who's in the chat. Now, this concept of the audience, I think, is really interesting. The game show element, the cheers, and the effect it has in the gameplay. Are you also thinking of doing that at the Twitch level? What are your thoughts there?
That's a very good question, and I know there've been talks about that and doing some integrations with Twitch. I'm not sure where we're at.
Maybe that comes later.
Yes, maybe that comes later.
Well,
I don't want to promise anything.
No, I know. But it's like the concept is so good, but it's like when you're saying it, it almost makes me think that Twitch is the audience, but obviously from a technical point of view, there's a lot of work to do there. Now, is this the team's first game? Tell us a little bit about the experience of the team.
So it's not the team's first game, but it's the studio's first game.
Okay.
So our co-founders, they come from a AAA studio. They founded their own studio, and they worked in the past on games like Rainbow Six Siege and Blood Bowl. And so they have an experience with that kind of, tactical multiplayer game, and we want to use that experience to make a great game. But yeah, it's our first game as a studio, but not a first game like the devs are pretty experienced.
Okay, good. Yeah, because I was going to say if that was truly the first game, it'd be an impressive game. Now that being said, you did name drop Overwatch and XCOM.
We did. Yes.
You had someone in the chat said like, "Oh, you had made XCOM," and they went to wishlist the game right away. I mean, that's really legendary level games.
Yeah.
What kind of pressure does that give you to sort of deliver?
Well, it's more comparison really because we compare it to XCOM because of the X-Grid thingy and the tactical aspect of the game, but it's not like XCOM in the sense that XCOM is really military tactics. We have more like sports tactics. So in that sense, it would be closer to Blood Bowl, really.
Oh, interesting.
But we like to market it as Overwatch meets XCOM because, there's such big games, and Overwatch is like the typical hero game. And XCOM, well, everyone knows what it is. And when you think XCOM, you think tactical straight away. And so that's the sort of connections that we want to make when we talk about the game.
Yeah, great. Well, and I mean the hero shooter part, and you have the heroes.
Yeah.
But I mean, obviously, real time versus turn-based tactics. I mean, I guess you're not going to have someone showing up thinking they're going to run around with their gun.
No, I don't think so. Or at least we're careful in the way we market it to make it very clear that it's not your typical fast-paced shooter game. It's like a tactical game where strategy and putting your tactician mind at work is what matters. So yeah.
Well, it sounds like it's quite a unique mix of those things. I mean, who would you see as your direct competitor? Or is there anyone really touching on the same?
There's actually another game that was released not so long ago called Moonbreaker that does that. So that would be our competitor, I guess.
Okay. I think Moonbreaker, but they were like painting the figurine.
Yes.
That was almost more like a Warhammer.
Yeah, but funny thing is, so this game actually is an adaptation of a miniature game, but we revamped the whole gameplay to make it very video gamey. Okay. So, like Blood Bowl adapted like the board game into Blood Bowl. We did that, but we tweaked the gameplay to make it more, more action, more fun. So
someone mentioned in the chat, what's the name of the board game again?
Aristeia.
Aristeia, okay.
Yeah.
I'm not familiar with that.
It's a miniature, it's a MOBA style board game. That's how they market it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. And what was the connection there? Like, how did you get
The
access?
two co-founders, they played the game, they loved the game, they were like, oh my God, we should make a video game out of this. Let's quit our jobs and, call the makers of the game and see if we have the rights. And the makers of the game were like, yeah, okay, let's do that.
No way.
They signed an agreement, quit their job, and created Blindspot Games, and here we are.
Amazing. That's such a great story.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Well, good luck with the launch, and I mean,
you.
especially like next week, you're going to get all those players in the game, so hopefully that goes smooth, and you get a ton of amazing feedback.
Thank you so much.
All right, congratulations. Thank you so much for joining us.
Bye-bye.
All right, good night, Alison. Wonderful. What a great story. It's like, let's quit our job. All right.